He built an empire on dreams, draped himself in the glow of philanthropy, and named half of Hollywood's temples of culture after himself. But now, David Geffen, the billionaire entertainment titan, finds himself under a blinding spotlight of another kind. Not for his billion-dollar music deals or movie legacies, but for allegedly trapping his much younger, financially dependent husband in a toxic cycle of sex, control, and psychological manipulation. This lawsuit against entertainment billionaire David Geffen is more than tabloid drama. It's a test of justice itself. The allegations, filed in a blistering lawsuit by Donovan Michaels, a 32-year-old survivor of the foster system, don't just threaten Geffen's legacy. They drag into the open a grotesque underbelly of exploitation, hiding in plain sight behind charity galas and glossy magazine covers. What begins on a so-called dating platform for the elite, Seeking.com, allegedly devolves into a relationship built on transactional intimacy, unspoken power imbalances, and unkept promises of lifelong partnership. And now, with no prenuptial agreement in place, no written contract to reference, and the full weight of $9 billion in wealth hanging over the courtroom, this is not just a lawsuit, it's a reckoning. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this case matters. Not just for Geffen and Michaels, but for every conversation we're not having about wealth, coercion, and the illusion of mutual consent when power is this uneven. If you believe truth should never be buried beneath a billionaire's yacht, make sure to subscribe now. We go where mainstream won't, and we say what power would rather you didn't. Let's stop pretending this is about love gone sour. This is about influence used as a leash. According to the complaint, Geffen, decades older, worth more than $9 billion, and one of the most powerful gatekeepers in entertainment, allegedly initiated the relationship by offering Michaels $10,000 for sex after meeting him on a site infamous for sugar daddy arrangements. The platform, by its own laughable virtue signaling, claims to prohibit transactional sex, but somehow still funnels the wealthy toward the economically desperate. Michaels claims he was drawn in by Geffen's lavish gifts and lifestyle, only to be emotionally entrapped, repeatedly told to give up his modeling ambitions, and eventually absorbed into Geffen's domestic and social world as a full-time partner, without pay, without independence, and without a single signature on a legally binding agreement. This isn't about who Geffen loves. It's about how he allegedly used that love to control. But here's where it gets murky and ugly. Michaels says he was promised lifetime care in return for acting as Geffen's confidant, house manager, emotional support system, party planner, and social arm candy. A verbal contract, he alleges, that was reaffirmed repeatedly over their years together. And yet, when he attempted sobriety and independence, Geffen allegedly cut him off and threw him out. No money, no home, no recourse. If you think that's just the price of heartbreak, ask yourself, what if the genders were reversed? What if this was a billionaire man throwing out a woman he first met as a paid escort, after promising her forever and benefiting from her unpaid labor and emotional servitude? Drop a comment if you're seeing the pattern. We need to interrogate this obsession with wealthy abusers hiding behind their generosity. Geffen has donated hundreds of millions to medical schools, drama programs, and performance halls. His name is etched in stone from Los Angeles to New York. But what does it mean if his private behavior undermines the very dignity his public donations pretend to honor? Philanthropy should not be a shield for personal exploitation. It is not a moral absolution. And in this case, Michaels claims that Geffen bragged, yes, bragged, to other billionaires and celebrities about saving him from poverty, as if financial rescue somehow entitled him to lifelong obedience and sexual access. Sit with that, because it's not just scandal. It's a mirror. This case may turn on the question of a promise no one ever wrote down, but millions heard loud and clear. That's the courtroom battle. But the public one? That's about whether wealth excuses betrayal. If Michaels was expected to live like a spouse, serve like a spouse, sacrifice career and independence like a spouse, yet has no legal claim to a spouse's rights, then what exactly was he? A therapist without a license? A housekeeper without pay? A lover with no rights? If you've ever seen this power dynamic in real life, Type "I see it" in the comments. Let's not pretend it's rare. And yet Geffen's attorneys are already calling the lawsuit false and pathetic, dismissing the claims as opportunism. Perhaps, or perhaps, this is the only path someone without power has left to hold a billionaire accountable for the promises he made behind closed doors. According to a Forbes review of prenup litigation, courts increasingly recognize the complexity of oral and implied agreements, especially when emotional and domestic labor is clearly rendered over time in good faith. The challenge is proving it without paper. But let's be honest, if Geffen wanted to protect himself, he would have gotten a prenup. He didn't. That speaks volumes. If this shocked you, drop a comment below. We're not just talking about a messy divorce, we're talking about what happens when obscene wealth meets vulnerability, when love becomes leverage, and when a system designed to protect the powerful leaves the rest of us scraping for scraps of justice. Like, share, subscribe, because someone has to say it out loud.